Cathie Wood is the founder and CEO of Ark Invest, which was founded in 2014 and became well known after it was revealed to the public that it had a large stake in Tesla before its shares skyrocketed. And the Ark Innovation ETF, trading under ticker ARKK, has shown stellar performance since its inception, easily beating the S&P 500 with an average annualized return of over 39% over 5 years, compared to the S&P 500's 14%. And recently, Cathie Wood spoke about what she thinks will be the biggest holdings that will have the best results in the next 5 years. Let's take a listen on the interview.
If I look backward, as you well know, Tesla accounts for almost a fifth of the return that you have generated in that 5-year time span. Which of your current holdings, Cathie, do you think will supply the biggest lift in the next 5 years?
Tesla's still in the running, but I would have to say the biggest upside surprises are going to come from the genomic space. And that's because the convergence of DNA sequencing, artificial intelligence, and gene therapies, importantly CRISPR gene editing, are going to cure disease. That convergence is going to cure disease. Now we have real science and technology surfacing the mutations in our genomic profile. And as they surface those mutations, what do we see? We see the earliest manifestations of disease. And now, with the combination of artificial intelligence and gene editing, we're able to both anticipate diseases and cure them potentially. Beta thalassemia, we're seeing it, sickle cell disease. We even think it will work in diabetes, which is where most, if you look at the largest category of spending year to year in healthcare, it's diabetes.
So Cathie Wood is expecting the genomic sector to take off in the next 5 years, and she attributes this to the fact that genomic sequencing combined with AI and gene therapy is going to open up many possibilities to cure diseases that are considered incurable today, like sickle cell disease and diabetes. And actually, genomic engineering has been around for decades, but the technology hasn't taken off because of the difficulty of using these technologies. That is, until CRISPR came along. CRISPR became available as a gene editing tool in 2012, which was originally discovered in the immune system of bacteria. And simply put, scientists can use a protein called Cas9 to cut out parts of the DNA and replace it. This allows scientists to delete or insert specific parts of the DNA into cells with a lot of control. And this technology is the core of these emerging businesses. So CRISPR technology today has a very promising potential to cure genetic diseases. Then the question arises, what is the limitation of CRISPR technology, and can it help us get rid of all diseases? Cathie Wood interviewed one of the recipients of the Nobel Prize in Chemistry this year, Jennifer Doudna, to ask this very question.
Is it wild-eyed to be thinking that as this convergence evolves and we get deeper and deeper into understanding what's going on, that we could cure most diseases? Is that outrageous to think? Or I'm just dreaming, I realize it's not 50, it's 15, 20 maybe, a long time away, but is it a crazy thought?
Well, I would, it's not a crazy thought, but I would modify it a little bit, just to be clear. So I think that if we start imagining what happens in the future, in the coming years and decades, I think it's not unreasonable to imagine that genome editing will allow diseases that are caused by a single gene to be corrected and cured. So that is just, it's kind of mind-blowing to think about it. And it really does allow a very clear path to be envisioned, at least, for personal medicine, because this is really about fine-tuning. You can take this tool and you can literally program it to make the targeted change that one wants. And so that can be tailored to individuals based on their DNA sequence. So that's where the DNA sequencing obviously comes in. Right. But that being said, of course, there are many diseases and conditions that result from multiple genes that are, are the way they are. And then, of course, lots of diseases like, COVID-19 comes to mind that are not caused by genetics necessarily, but are caused by some external infectious agent. Although it's possible that, that one could use genome editing there to help boost up the immune system of affected individuals. So, I think that there's really lots of opportunities, but my guess is that initially the targets for genome editing in biomedicine will be focused on monogenic diseases, because those are the ones where it's easiest to envision how this technology will address those.
So the potential is there for CRISPR technology to cure a lot of diseases, but the most straightforward solutions provided is diseases that are caused by a defect in the person's genes, like sickle cell disease. So now we have an idea of what the technology does and its potential. Let's talk about how Ark is investing. If we take a look at Ark's Innovation ETF, 2 of the top 5 holdings is in the genome space. The first is CRISPR Therapeutics, which uses CRISPR-Cas9 technology as a foundation. And actually, the Nobel Prize of Chemistry for the year of 2020 went to researchers of the CRISPR and Cas9 technology. And one of the recipients of the prize is actually the founder of CRISPR Therapeutics, ticker symbol CRSP. And right now the company is doing clinical studies to treat sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia. Their lead product candidate is the CTX001, which is in phase 1/2 clinical trial and is being co-developed with Vertex Pharmaceuticals. And the company has multiple ongoing clinical trials, such as treatments to help patients with myeloma, which is a cancer that develops in white blood cells. But there are some obvious risks to an early stage company like this one. For example, the company has only been profitable in 2019, and that was because they were able to generate revenues through collaboration with Vertex. And according to its latest 10Q filing, which is a document that reports on the latest results of a company in the quarter, the company does not expect to be profitable in the near future. So if you do decide to invest in this company, be aware that the company may be unprofitable for many years, and during that time, investors may get impatient and the share price may go down. Or there might be problems with the CRISPR technology that we do not yet know about. And the next company that Ark has a large investment in is Invitae. This company is in the same genomic space as CRISPR, but its business is a bit different. The company, instead of providing treatment solutions to people with diseases arising from defects in their genes, provides genetic testing. And this is a short clip from Invitae talking about what genetic testing is.
What is genetic testing? One helpful analogy is to think about taking a photograph. As you frame your shot, there are many different levels at which you can zoom in on the object you are photographing. For example, you could take a photograph of a large tree from a distance. You may then wish to zoom in on a particular branch of the tree. You could further zoom in on a specific leaf of the tree, and you may even wish to look in detail at a specific area of that leaf. Genetic testing involves a similar process of zooming in on an area of interest within your body, your DNA. The process of genetic testing begins by zooming in on the cells of a blood or tissue sample. Your cells make up the different tissues of your body. Scientists then look closely at a part of the cell called the nucleus, which is where most of your DNA is stored. DNA is stored in tightly coiled strands called chromosomes. In genetic testing, the chromosomes are unwound, and the message of the DNA is read as a series of letters. The DNA alphabet is made up of just 4 letters: A, C, T, and G. These letters are found in different combinations to make up genes, the instructions encoded in your DNA. Your genes help determine your hair and eye color, height, and other physical traits that make you who you are. We now know that variations in our genes also impact our health and risk of disease. Genetic testing is the process by which scientists zoom in on your DNA and look for variations in your genes that can lead to disease.
And the company's mission is to bring genetic information into mainstream medical practice. So the company has been working to lower costs of genetic testing and making genetic information more accessible for everyone by creating a network so that individuals and physicians can understand more about how our genetic information can affect their health. But even with rising revenues, it's spending a lot of money on R&D and operating costs. So the company is still not sustainably profitable. And in the company's 10Q, it says that it expects to be unprofitable for an indefinite amount of time. So there is significant risk to go along with the potential reward for both of these stocks. So do make sure to understand the risks involved before you decide to invest. That's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to subscribe with the bell notification icon turned on, and I will see you guys in the next one.